Good evening and welcome to Pakistan Today News from our New York studio. I'm Chris Taylor. We begin tonight with developments in Washington and Beijing. U.S. President Donald Trump is set to visit China from March 31st to April 2nd for high-level talks focused on trade and tariffs. The visit comes just days after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down many of his tariff policies, including levies on Chinese goods. The ruling has raised fresh uncertainty in already tense U.S.-China economic relations. President Trump says he plans to discuss extending a trade truce and has signaled he may introduce new global tariffs using alternative legal tools. Beijing, however, has not yet formally confirmed the trip. The diplomatic engagement follows months of friction between the world's two largest economies, with markets closely watching how both sides navigate the fallout from the court's decision. In a landmark judgment, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that former President Donald Trump lacked the legal authority to impose sweeping global tariffs under emergency powers. The justices struck down key trade levies, marking a significant check on presidential economic authority. In response, Trump criticized the ruling and vowed to pursue a new 10% global tariff through other legal mechanisms. He maintained that existing trade agreements, including those with countries such as India, remain intact despite the court's decision. Analysts say the ruling could reshape the future of U.S. trade policy and inject renewed volatility into global markets already sensitive to geopolitical tensions. Now to Islamabad, where political and legal developments continue to dominate headlines. Federal Parliamentary Affairs Minister Tariq Fazal Chaudhry has said that former Prime Minister Imran Khan will be taken to hospital twice more and administered a medical injection on February 25th as part of treatment for an eye ailment while in custody. The government insists it is providing the best possible medical care. However, the opposition and the PTI have criticized what they describe as a lack of transparency and restricted access for Imran Khan's personal physicians. According to Chaudhry, PTI leaders were invited to nominate representatives to attend the medical examination, but struggled to decide who should go. For more on this, we go to our Islamabad correspondent, Sarah William.
Thank you, Chris. Officials here in Islamabad say all medical procedures are being conducted under strict supervision and in line with doctors' recommendations. The government maintains that Imran Khan's condition is stable and that his treatment schedule has been clearly communicated. However, PTI leaders continue to demand full access to his medical records and the presence of his personal doctors during examinations. The issue has become a fresh flashpoint between the government and the opposition alliance, further intensifying the political climate in the capital. Back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Sarah. In another significant legal development, the Supreme Court of Pakistan has stayed the trial in Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's 10 billion rupee defamation lawsuit against PTI founder Imran Khan. The case dates back to 2017 and stems from allegations that Shehbaz Sharif offered a bribe to withdraw the Panama Papers case. The lawsuit claims that Imran Khan's statements damaged Shehbaz Sharif's reputation. However, the apex court has now halted proceedings pending a review of legal questions in the matter. Both sides will await further direction from the Supreme Court as this long-running legal battle continues. Turning to the Middle East, U.S. President Donald Trump has said he is considering a limited military strike on Iran if nuclear negotiations fail. The statement comes even as Tehran signals that a draft agreement could be ready within days following talks in Geneva. Iran's foreign minister has insisted that the United States has not demanded zero uranium enrichment and says both sides have made progress on guiding principles for a potential deal. Still, key issues remain unresolved. U.S. forces have bolstered their presence in the region, while Iran has warned of serious consequences if talks collapse, keeping the threat of escalation high. In cricket, former England captain Michael Vaughan has urged the England and Wales Cricket Board to act swiftly after reports suggested Pakistani cricketers could be overlooked by Indian-owned franchises in the 100 ahead of next month's auction. According to reports by BBC Sport and The Telegraph, 4 of the 8 teams are owned by companies linked to the Indian Premier League. Concerns have emerged that despite more than 50 Pakistani players registering for the draft, they may not be selected. Vaughan stressed that cricket must remain inclusive and called on the ECB to ensure fair opportunities for players regardless of nationality. And finally, back home, Pakistan's short-term inflation continues to squeeze household budgets at the start of Ramadan. The Pakistan Bureau of Statistics reports that the sensitive price index has risen 5.19% year-on-year, driven by higher retail costs of essential food items and energy products. The index has now increased for the 29th consecutive week, with weekly prices up 1.16% as demand surged during the fasting month. Rising costs of vegetables, chicken, electricity, and petrol have placed added strain on families preparing for Ramadan, despite slight easing in a few categories. Economists warn that persistent increases in perishables and fuel could continue to pressure consumers in the weeks ahead. That's all for now. You're watching Pakistan Today News. I'm Chris Taylor.